Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Skinny Post podcast. As we catch up with you every Tuesday, we're going to recap the weekend, try to get some guests on here to talk a little football as we rehash what's going on in the NFL. I'm Steve O'Reilly. I got Gail Saunders with me, my partner in crime. What's going
good,
on,
everybody?
Gail? Hey,
It's living the dream over here, as usual.
good. So what'd you think of Week 3's action? Obviously, we had some craziness jumping right at the Bills, beating the Patriots. Everybody's talking about what's going on in Buffalo. They're circling the wagons. What do you think?
Well, the Bills are for real. I mean, we thought that the Patriots were going to go up and just take it to the Bills. But obviously, they took them a little lightly, and Ryan Fitzpatrick showed the rest of the NFL world that he is legit. And he's a big reason why they didn't go after Cam Newton. So take that, Cam Newton.
Yeah, no, I agree. Fitzpatrick is playing well, and I think the biggest difference between the two teams, and it was evident on the weekend, was the running game. The Patriots got one-dimensional, and when they had a lead, they couldn't just salt it away by running the football, and they relied too much on throwing the ball. I said it all last year and the year before, and I stand by it now, regardless of the NFL and it's changing. I know that it's an offensive league and numbers and everything. Everybody's putting up points. But when you throw the ball 50 times a game, bad things are going to happen. Balls are going to get tipped. Balls are going to get dropped. Balls are going to get intercepted. You're going to see pick sixes. And you have to be able to run the ball. You have to have balance. Even the greatest teams were always able to run the ball to preserve wins. And until the Patriots can do that and have that luxury, they may find themselves losing shootouts, to be honest.
Agreed.
So looking at it going forward, does it change my perspective that the Patriots are going to win the East? No, I still think they will. But I do think they need to shore up some things, especially defensively and especially in the running game. Right now, they're kind of a one-trick pony. They're passing the ball.
Defense is giving up mad yards. I mean, they could break records on yards they've given up. Just as likely as they could break yards, passing yards. I mean, they're really defense is a sore word in New England right now.
Yeah, it really is, and across the league, looking at the league across the board, there's a lot of high-scoring games. There's a lot of teams that are putting up big numbers, and you look at the elite teams, the top 10 teams, and they're all teams that can light up a scoreboard in a heartbeat. It's just that it's going that way fast in this league.
Very true, my friend.
Let's look at one of the Patriots' foes this weekend. They're facing the up-and-coming, and I'm saying up-and-coming, even as a Broncos fan, it pains me to say that, but the Raiders are looking better. And, they are winning ball games. I told you they were going to beat the Jets. I picked it in our Selection Sunday. And the reason being is McFadden is becoming an elite running back. I can't look at that guy now and not think he's the most dangerous running back when I see him with the ball in his hand, just because of the way he's torched my Broncos. And it's scary to me to see him in the backfield getting a pitch wide because I know he's going to take it to the house. I mean, am I going nuts, or is McFadden really becoming legitimate?
I mean, McFadden's the real deal. Obviously, I drafted him in my fantasy. I made it a priority. Guys are sleeping on what he's actually capable of. I mean, he's been banged up in the past, but I think when you're coming into that third year as a running back, things start to click. And obviously, he's clicking on all cylinders. I mean, he's putting up crazy yards. I mean, he's over 100 like almost every game this season. 2 touchdowns last week?
Yeah, he's just torching the league. And the thing I notice is his upper body looks bigger to me, to be honest. He looks like he's been really hitting the incline and the decline bench press, because his upper body, you can't take him down with an arm tackle before, if he hit the hole, he could get spun, and he kind of ran upright. So if you hit him with an arm tackle, you may knock him off balance and maybe spin him into a tackle or, bottle him up. But now, it seems like those arm tackles don't faze him. When he gets that second level, he's just too shifty for a linebacker and too fast, and he's just too big for a little DB, and now he's just He looks like the total package. And if the Raiders can get some continuity, for the love of Pete, can they get some continuity in the coaching staff for a few years to see what these guys can do if they stay in the same system? You know, the Raiders went 6-0 last year in the AFC West. 6-0.
Yeah.
Granted, they didn't break 500, but that's not bad to sweep your division. It's almost unheard of. And here they did it. Do you think they can do it again? Do you think they can come out and really take control of the West? Or what do you think is going on in the West?
I think the Raiders, they got something going right now. I mean, beating the Jets, the Super Bowl bound Jets, according to Rex Ryan. That was a big win. They showed the rest of the league that they're serious. They got big bodies across both sides of the ball, and they don't even have Jacoby Ford back. Moore, the rookie, is playing lights out for, and then you got if you look all around the team, a lot of guys are making great efforts, and they have a stellar running game, and Campbell is not making too many mistakes. So,
well, look at the AFC West in general. You got to think the Chargers are the team to beat. I mean, just because they are healthy, and at some places, and Gates is still banged up a bit, but when you have Phillip Rivers and you have Vincent Jackson and Matthews is kind of coming on, they're a tough team. Our boy Warren Sapp, he picked the Chargers to win the Super Bowl. They're a good team. Their front on defense looks tough. They're not a bad team at all. They're going to win more than they lose. The Raiders look better. The Chiefs are hitting, some bumps in the road. We'll talk about them in a little bit. They're hitting some bumps in the road. And the Broncos are obviously rebuilding. So it's not like the AFC North where you got the Ravens and the Steelers, or it's not the AFC East where you got the Patriots and the Jets. It's not a division that you need to win 13 games to win. You need to win 10. And 9 may even get you the prize. So the Raiders are right in it. They just need to have good, solid quarterback play and get it done. But speaking of quarterback play, let's go over to your squad, the Eagles. Talk a little broken hand, not broken hand, bruised hand. What's going on with Michael Vick and his hand?
He's got a bruise in that hand. It's pretty deep. They're gonna hit you with the day-to-day, the iffy status reports on the injury. They're not gonna give any other team an idea if he's definitely gonna play until late into the end of the week. They got the 49ers. I mean, you could actually, if I was the Eagles, I would rest him. He needs to rest. As much as I think the Eagles need to win.
You mean rest him for the whole game? Sit him down?
Sit him down, man. I mean, after.
You really think the Eagles can afford to go to 1-3?
I don't think they'd go to 1-3. I think.
So you're just saying that the Niners are not good enough, you're basically saying that the Niners are going to lose to your JV quarterback because the Eagles are that good. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my goodness! See, that's homeritis right there.
I'm keeping it real. Hey, I saw Kafka.
Real, but it's also real dumb.
I saw Kafka drive up the field on the Falcons. He knows the offense. Andy Reid has been known to make backup quarterbacks look decent. He'll simplify the offense. I mean, it's not like I don't think the defense is not capable of stopping.
But look at what you're sacrificing for what? He has a bruised hand. You've said it's not broken. So if the hand's not broken, why are you going to risk going 1-3 when a guy, it's not even his throwing hand. Let him, you guys need to win or else the Boo Birds are going to start. Do you know how much money they spent this year? You know how high the hopes were with all those additions? And you're going to say that you're going to go to 1-3?
Keeping it real.
Hey.
I am because after that, after Vic came out and said what he said about, the dude is frustrated. The guy's been getting hit. I think he needs a rest.
They're all getting hit. He's not getting hit any more than any other quarterback's getting hit.
But this is the first time you've heard Vic actually come out and complain in a certain manner. in a more frustrated tone. This is different than, he got hit last year. Andy Reid made a comment about it, and actually the league, started to, take notice. But it's more of a frustrated, when you're losing, you're not supposed to be losing. They have high hopes, but I just think his mindset needs to take a rest. Take a chill. He's been taking shots all season long, and we're not even talking just the season. We're talking preseason. He's been taking shots, so it's time.
It's going to be a long year if he says he needs a rest after 3 weeks. That's all I got to say.
He needs rest.
And if the Eagles go to 1-3, Santa Claus better not make any trips to Philly because they'll beat him up again. Because I tell you what, this is the year you guys are supposed to win it. This is the year they're supposed to get over the hump. And starting off like that, that's not going to make anybody feel any better in Philly. Speaking of up and down, let's go ahead with our 3 ups and 3 downs. There's 3 teams that are hot. There's 3 teams that are not. Right now, I like the Detroit Lions. I think that they've got some swagger going. The Lions look real good. The Ravens have got things going after one mild hiccup. And the Buffalo Bills, obviously, are another team that are looking pretty hot. Who are your 3 teams that are looking pretty good, Gail? And then I'll give you my 3 not-so-hot teams right now in the NFL.
And looking pretty good. The Green Bay Packers look like a well-oiled machine. I can't say one real bad thing about them. They do play like they have some swagger going on. Aaron Rodgers has full command of that offense. Fully respects what they're doing out there. Let's see, who else? The Bills. I mean, you got to give credit to the Bills. The Bills are putting up crazy numbers. I mean, if you talk about any guy who needs to get his props, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, the guy is balling out of control. 841 yards and 9 touchdowns in 3 games. I mean, last week he put in 369 and 2 touchdowns against the Patriots. So, I mean, big shout out to the Bills and what they're doing. I mean, they're this season, they're in the offseason, they're talking about selling the Bills. I think a season like this could do wonders for the city of Buffalo and keep hopes that, maybe they'll stay for the long term. Yep. Who else do I got? The Detroit Lions. You mentioned a little bit about them. I think Ndamukong Suh is giving that defense a little swagger. Detroit, if you live in Detroit, you got to have a tough skin, and I think Ndamukong Suh actually, he embodies that. And I mean, if you think about that guy plays mean as hell. I mean, that's how I want my defensive tackles to play. If I'm a Bills fan or a coach of the Bills,
or Lions rather.
I mean, he brings a level of excitement to the Lions that we haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah,
I mean, on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, we tried to get Eric Wright on today to talk to us a little bit about it. We're still going to hopefully get in touch with him soon. We'll sit down and chat, talk a little Lions defense, because you're right, they have been playing really, really well. A couple of teams that have not been playing so well. We're going to go ahead and segue now into our conversation that we had today with Le'Ron McClain of the Kansas City Chiefs. They've seen some tough times in Kansas City. They've had some injuries. Some guys have been lost for the season. Some key players, Eric Berry, Jamal Charles, are both gone. And they also saw some bad games where they were thumped. So we sat down and talked to Le'Ron today about the Chiefs and the status and what's going on in KC. Here's what that conversation led to. We're going to speak a little Kansas City Chiefs. We have on with us right now Le'Ron McClain, a fullback / running back for the Chiefs. Le'Ron, how you doing tonight, man? Thanks for joining us on our podcast.
Oh, man, I'm good, man. Just relaxing at the house.
Good. Well, this year it's been, a tough little struggle so far for you guys. You've had some injuries, obviously. The loss of Barry, the loss of Charles. You just had some tough luck. You've had some bad games already. What's the mindset like out there right now for you guys as you're heading into Week 4? I mean, it's still early in the season, obviously. So, what's going on?
I think our mindset right now is that we put together a good game, on film, and it wasn't good enough to win the game, but we feel like we came together as a team, Sunday against the Chargers. You know, we came up short, you know, but I think we're going to build on that, you know, and going to Sunday, you know, ready to win this game versus the Vikings. Take one game at a time, you know, and I just believe in my heart we could be 5-3 at the end of the second quarter of the season, you know, going into third quarter of the season. So I feel like we come out with the same enthusiasm that we did Sunday and tighten down on the little bit of technique things that we let slip Sunday and really caused us to lose that game, we'll be okay.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the loss of Charles is huge in the backfield. How fast or have you gotten over the loss of a superstar running back like that? I mean, obviously, as a core, you guys came together. You had your meetings. What was the feeling like coming out of the room knowing he's gone for the year? I mean, obviously, you guys need to step up and get it done, but is it deflating or how do you approach it?
We just approach it like, I mean, we're ready, man. Just put more weight on our shoulders. We know Jamal went down for us, and, you know, it was a big loss to us, you know, but we, myself, Thomas Jones, Dexter McCluster, Jagged Battle, we feel like we just got to step up. All of us got to give a little bit more, you know, what we've been doing, you know, to fill in that place for Jamal.
Yeah. Now, this is your first year in the AFC West, so you're getting a little taste of AFC West football. As you know, this division is wide open. There's not a clear-cut favorite. I think some people would probably lean towards San Diego and perhaps Oakland, and Denver's rebuilding, as we know, and you guys are right there in the mix as well. Does that, you know, obviously it's 1 week at a time, but the AFC West is still definitely anyone's division, and even though you haven't started off great, you still got to feel like you're right in it, right?
Oh yeah, we feel like we're still in it. You know, we behind a little bit with these 3 games that we done lost, but I mean, when we pick it up and get this first W, man, I think we'll get rolling and, you know, get the job done. You know, then we'll see where we end up at the end of the year.
Absolutely. Is there anything the coach has said to you or you guys to kind of get your minds off of the fact that things aren't going your way, so to speak? You know, just get back to the basics maybe, or take it a one game at a time approach, or anything he shared with you that you could share with us?
Yeah, really just taking one game at a time, just knowing that we got to get this victory Sunday. We feel like we came off a good game versus the Chargers, you know, on the road. Did a lot of great things, you know, but did a few bad things that got us beat. But we feel like we can overcome that, man, and get into a groove. You know, he embedded that in our heads and just telling us, man, just believe. You know, that's what I'm just trying to tell everybody. Just keep believing, man. We get this thing turned around, and when we do, you know, we'll see what happens.
Right. Well, Le'Ron McClain, Kansas City Chiefs, thank you so very much for taking the time to talk to us today. I had a very wise NFL writer one time tell me that it's always good to gel late than gel early in the NFL. So you still have plenty of time to gel and come together and obviously make a good season out of 2011. Hopefully the breaks will start bouncing your way, and we wish you nothing but the best this year, and best of luck this season.
I appreciate it, man. God bless.
Thanks for joining us. Once again, Le'Ron McClain. And some other teams that we think are really feeling pretty low right now and need to figure it out. Minnesota, the Vikings are definitely finding ways to lose games. They've had leads in every game they've been in, and yet they find themselves 0-3. McNabb was supposed to come and, you know, get with you know, that high potent offense, and it just hasn't really worked out so much. They seem to score enough to get a good lead, and then all of a sudden the scoring stops. They need to figure out what's going on there. They're not looking too hot right now. Kansas City, as we just discussed, is not looking too hot right now. And I think the Seahawks, even though they found a way to win, Seattle has got some issues with what's going to go on there in the long run. I think Seattle's going to find that letting Hasselbeck go may not have been in the best interest of the team this year. Maybe in the long term it did, but this year it's going to take a step back out in Seattle.
Yeah, I still can't. It makes me stutter. How could you sign? I mean, Tavares Jackson, I never really saw much in a way that a team would go out of their way to sign Tavares Jackson to be their starting quarterback. I never seen anything, you know, remotely. I don't know, man. It's still
No, it
shocking.
was the Michael Vick factor. Michael Vick led GMs and coaches to believe that a guy who had mobility and a strong arm could do things that no one else could do. And Michael Vick is a rare person. And not any athlete can just go behind center. Tim Tebow's found that out. You have to be a quarterback in the NFL to be behind center, not an athlete. Anyone could get behind center that's an athlete. In the NFL, you can't. But anyway, go ahead.
I just, they make me yawn too. Seattle Seahawks. I mean, really? Tavares Jackson. Matt Hasselbeck has been the franchise QB for years.
And here's the thing. There's teams in the NFL that you'll hear us talk about in a way that they're bad teams, but we're not going to badmouth them because they know they're bad and they're doing things to make changes. Jacksonville, for example, they went and got their quarterback. They're in the middle of making changes. The Broncos, they had a disaster with McDaniels, and they're making the changes to, change. Those things are going to take time, so they're going to stink. Teams like the Vikings that were knocking on the door just the other day, they didn't make any major changes, aside from quarterback, which is major, but they added pieces to a team that was supposed to represent. Seattle won their division and was a playoff team, and now they don't even remotely look anywhere near a playoff team. So the reason we're hard on teams like that is because of decisions and not so much a rebuild, just to clarify that.
Well, I mean, you gave Charles Whitehurst, a.k.a. Jesus, a huge, not a huge, but a nice contract to come in and be the next man. And then you're going to turn around a year later and say, Tavares Jackson, you're going to be our leader. And you just spent all this money on two quarterbacks that I just don't really feel are franchise worthy at this moment.
Yeah. And you never know, honestly, what they say behind closed doors. I mean, you've heard commentators and people say the expression, and it sounds terrible, but there's T-shirts that have been made that say "suck for luck," where teams want to be bad to get in line for Andrew Luck. And while that has some hidden innuendos there that we won't talk about, it's true. So you never know what teams are saying, hey, let's just bide our time with a journeyman for a year, and then we'll get in place to make a move for Andrew Luck if the chips may fall. Because coaches are ultimately looking for that one guy, that one quarterback who will to lead them to the promised land. And speaking of that one quarterback, before we get going here and wrap up our first podcast, let's talk a little bit about Tony Romo. What did you think of his performance with the punctured lung the other night? He represented, I thought, very well after kind of getting a bad rap for his display against the Jets and some of the decision-making and being called a choker. And then really gutting it out the next week against the Niners, playing hurt, bringing them back in a game, and then coming in and beating the Redskins in a close one. Even though they didn't find the end zone, they found a way to win. Is Tony Romo legit in your eyes to take Dallas to the Super Bowl?
Whoa, easy. Slow down with the Super Bowl talk.
Well, that's what it's about, right? Let's be honest, Gail. It's about the Super Bowl or you go home.
Let's be honest. Let's talk about Tony Romo and his gutsy performance. Let's keep on topic. Don't go Super Bowl yet.
All right.
I'm saying...
well, that's the question, though. I mean, did he do enough this week to prove to people that he can carry his team? And by carrying his team, meaning the promised land. Can he take them there? That's what people want to know.
I mean, he is the guy for that team. He showed this week, and I picked... I'm an Eagles fan, and, I picked Dallas to win that game, and I believe that... that was a gutsy performance. Like, after going through what he went through with injuries against San Fran, and look back and see what he did as a whole. I mean, even though they kicked mad field goals that game, look what he had guys running wrong routes. He had the center firing the ball left and right. What was it, 5 missed?
Yeah, that was bad.
Snaps, and the guy was picking balls up off the ground and making passes. I was much props to Tony Romo.
And I agree, but here's the question, and then I'll be the first to admit that I've been harsh on Romo. And here's why. in the level of professional sports, anyone who's played professional sports knows there comes a moment where you look at that dragon, if you will. If you look at that moment where you have to seize the moment and you have to either rise above it or find your way to navigate through it. And I don't know if Tony Romo has the ability to look at that adversity. If you imagine him in a championship game or in a Super Bowl, you know, imagine in a championship game, it's late in the fourth quarter and you got Clay Matthews coming after him from every angle, and then the Packers blitzing from every angle, or the Eagles or another team that's, you know, talented defense. Is Romo going to make the right decision with everything on the line? Do you feel like in that moment of holy moly matters, he's going to not make the mistake? I don't think anyone's sold on him. I don't. I mean, until he proves it, he's not. In
situations like that, I think I look at Romo like this. Romo is going to make the plays when you don't think he's going to make the plays. When you expect him for him to pull out from the deep depths of his soul to pull out a play, he's sometimes not going to make that play because if you expect him to. But I wouldn't doubt Romo. He showed that he's gutsy. He's just not consistent enough for me to give him the elite quarterback status with the killer instinct, and that's something that I think a lot of Cowboy fans can connect with. Some fans feel like he doesn't have that killer instinct sometimes that you need from your higher up, and I think losing Wade Phillips or letting Wade Phillips go over the years. Over this year, they're trying to change that mindset, and I think Romo is probably trying to get in touch with that killer instinct because that's what's been missing.
Yeah.
And jury's still out on him.
Yep. Well, everyone, we want to thank so much for checking us out on our first weekly podcast, the Weekly Skinny. We're going to catch up with you guys every Tuesday night. We're going to sit down and talk about what happened over the weekend. We've got special guests lined up every week. We're going to sit down and talk with some guys about their teams, some former players, current players, and always try to give you the inside NFL scoop. We'd always love your comments and feedback. Feel free to get us on Twitter. I'm at Steve O'Reilly, and that's at Gail E. Saunders. We can also be found on Facebook at Skinny Post there as well. So please be sure to check us out. We'd love to have your interaction.
Deuces.
Thanks, everybody. I'm Steve O'Reilly. That's Gail Saunders. This is SkinnyPost.com. We're giving you the skinny 24/7.